Well, you've probably heard already that overdoses are killing more people than car accidents now. But we haven't heard much about the littlest victims of this crisis, babies born with illegal drugs in their systems. Target 8 investigator Susan Samples is finding out why critics say the state isn't doing enough to protect these newborns. So Susan, what did you find?
Marley, I started investigating this when a child welfare watchdog talked to me about a disturbing pattern that they were starting to see. The agency is seeing drug-exposed babies die before their first birthdays, not because of drugs directly, but because of unsafe sleep, for instance, or causes that are never determined. In fact, that's what happened to a Muskegon Heights baby whose mom, after a year after her newborn's death, is still fighting to stay off the marijuana that she started smoking at 12 years old.
What made me realize it was a problem? Well, when your 7, 8-year-old daughter come to you and they say, "Oh, mama, you got a blunt, it's rolled up." You know, my baby done been around long enough to know what a blunt look like when it's rolled up.
She was talking right there about her older daughter. Tonight at 11, we'll tell you what happened to her baby girl the morning that she found her dead. And we show you why critics think that those deaths are evidence that Children's Protective Services isn't doing enough to keep those drug-positive kids safe.
Wow, Susan, this is so sad because these are innocent victims. So terrible to hear about this. What is the state doing about this?
Well, I mean, they say they're doing a lot, that every time that there's a newborn who's comes into the world drug positive, the state does a risk assessment, even does a home visit, checks a bunch of things to make sure that the child is not at risk. But if it scores low to moderate risk, the state may not continue to be involved in that family's life. They say they can't, just because there was substance abuse, open a case for services automatically.
Right.
So you'll hear much more about that tonight at 11. I sit down with the head of CPS and we explore more cases of kids who were born with drugs in their system, not addicted necessarily, but with drugs in their system, and then turned up dead in the first year.
And of course, it sounds like the state has a fine line to walk.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
All right, looking forward to your story tonight. You can watch Susan Samples' Target 8 investigation tonight at 11.